So I've been living here for about 10 years, continuing my education here.
Hi, my name is Ashma Koirala. I'm originally from Nepal. I know Natalie since my master's education. I have been in Japan for past 18 years now, half of my life. I came here after my high school graduation. I did both my university and graduate school here, and now I'm working at the multinational company. So yeah, I have my family in here. I'm raising my child in here as well.
Ashma, I'm so glad that we meet again after a few years. And we actually, who is the senpai, me or you?
I think we were on the same course, yeah.
Yes. So,
But yeah, technically you were the same pie.
okay. So you've been here for almost 20 years.
Right.
And what can you say about education in Japan? Because there is a lot of people outside Japan that think studying in Japan is so hard. Education is really discipline, and children are basically depressed in Japan. Is it true?
I mean, from my experience, I think people have different kinds of experience, so I cannot answer for the other people. But what I have seen and the people around me, I feel like it's more like the way, especially in the elementary school of Japan, I feel like they develop the human beings. It's not about the education. I feel like the social skills of what you're supposed to be doing as an adult, or what are your responsibility towards the community. I think those elements are really embedded in the education of elementary school here in Japan. So I think it's one of the peculiar aspect that rest of the world wouldn't have, because they would focus more on the studying and grades and top marks and such, whereas Japan, so in that sense maybe you would see like it's more loose, like people wouldn't care about the grades, or for that purpose some people might feel there is a need of going to the tuition classes, which they call jiku or something. But I personally feel like Japanese education is dipping in this real respect towards the people, the basic skills that you should need as a human being: how to tie your laces by yourself when you're really young, how to not let other people do the things that you are supposed to be doing by yourself. So in the sense of making yourself more independent, um, yeah, I feel in that way, especially growing my child in here together. When I see him, a lot of things, when I think myself back in his age, I wasn't able to do those things by myself. For
Okay.
example, tying my shoelace by myself by the age of 4 or 5. I could never do that. I had to always ask my one of my parents, but he does it very well because they are practicing it. And also, and I mean, Japan is one of the safest countries, so that's one of the reason. My son is 9 years old now, and he takes the public transportation to go to A to B location. They get to, and it's safe, and they're allowed to do it as an adventure, which is unimaginable at the rest of the part of the world. So I feel like all these things are the part of education, not only the books or the knowledge that is shared.
Tiyi, having grew up in Japan for most part of your life, and having studied in primary school here, what can you add in references to education in Japan at a young age?
I mean, I definitely agree with that idea of building almost like Japanese citizens, not just based on education in terms of grades, but also on knowledge of what it means to be an independent human being contributing to society. A lot of the things that I see Japanese students being able to do, even from my experience going to primary school here, are things that we would never learn in France. And I think that later on play a part in why, there may be a lot of discipline issues or class disturbances in French schools that we would never see in Japanese schools. And there really is that idea that respecting the team or respecting the class, respecting the other is also a way of respecting yourself. Prioritizing everyone's well being is also a way of prioritizing your well being and your education. And so I think that it's all about values. A lot of people may see it as being too rigorous, too much emphasis on discipline, but it's not necessarily just about uh, grades in the way that we see it in the Western world. It's actually very much deeper than that. And even the teachers, I think, hold a sense of responsibility to their students in that way because it's mutual.
Ashma, Tiyi has been in a Japanese public school. Why, as a foreigner, you choose a Japanese public school for your child, considering that even now, Japanese foreigner choose to again choose private international schools?
Right. I did a little bit of research before putting my son in the primary school, a regular Japanese primary school. And I found a lot of parents were emphasizing on English education and, like the usual extracurricular activities that they would think in the school back home. But when I kind of tackled from my perspective, again, I might be wrong, but from my perspective, when I kind of tallied the both education system, I feel like if we are not sending him to the local Japanese school, we would be losing a lot of like the values, as just she mentioned. You could go and get good grades and build up your English education at any time, because I am also a second language learner as English. I have a different language, so he could catch up on those language and grades and everything. But the essence of being like human and the values and those essence, I feel like he wouldn't learn anywhere else than the regular Japanese school. So for that purpose, especially in the primary education, we wanted him to go to the regular Japanese school, just learning to greet the people, elderly people around the community. I mean, it's a part of their school days. They would go together with their friends to the school. You're not allowed to, parents are not allowed to, take them in any kind of vehicles or such, which kind of sound different from the other part of the world. But that's actually teaching them you have to be in a community. You have to be able to do your work by yourself. School and home wouldn't be that far. And even the exercise, like, these days people are losing the sports and exercising. Even if you don't do anything, if you walk to the school and walk back home, that's a really good exercise. And carrying everything by yourself, and that sense of, I feel like there is a whole lot of culture and education that he would gain from a school, which we would otherwise not be able, even being in Japan, would not be able to give him as a parent.